Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at the Harley Road Glide. I've been told this is the Cadillac of touring bikes, the most comfortable ride, especially for long rides and highway riding, and that once you ride on a Road Glide, everything else is going to feel like a compromise or a step down. Before we get into the ride itself and how that went, let's talk about the specs on the new Road Glides from Harley. The Road Glide comes in 5 different versions: the Road Glide Special, Road Glide Limited, Road Glide ST, and the CVO Road Glide Limited. The Road Glide starts at $22,000, same as the Street Glide, and comes in 3 colors, black, red, and gray, all chromed out. ABS is optional at an additional cost. It has the Milwaukee 8 107 engine with 111 foot-pounds of torque. It has a 6-gallon tank and 26-inch seat height and weighs 855 pounds, ready to ride. Just like the Street Glide, it has a 4.3-inch infotainment screen with a 50-watt speaker system. The Road Glide Special starts at $28,000 and comes in 10 different color options, some chromed out, some blacked out, as well as the 120th anniversary option included here. It has the Milwaukee 8 114 engine with 118 foot-pounds of torque, 6-gallon tank, 26-inch seat height, and weighs 853 pounds. Now has a 6.5-inch touchscreen infotainment, still with a 50-watt sound system. The Road Glide Limited starts at $29,400 and comes in 7 different colors, again some chromed out and some blacked out. It's basically the same as the Special in terms of specs, except it also has the Tour Pack on the back, which bumps the seat height up to 27.25 and the weight up another 80 pounds to 932. It has 4 speakers instead of 2. The Road Glide ST starts at $30,000 and comes in 2 colors, black and sand pearl I think it is, both blacked out. It has the Milwaukee 8 117 engine with 127 foot-pounds of torque, 6-gallon tank, 26.75-inch seat height, weighs 842 pounds. It is the lightest of the Road Glides. No changes on the infotainment system. Has the same infotainment system as the Limited with 4 speakers. Basically with this you're paying for the bigger engine, the 117 engine, and the sportier look on this one. And last is the CVO Road Glide Limited for a whopping $52,000. It has its own special 120th anniversary paint job. It has the 117 engine like the ST has with 125 foot-pounds of torque, a 6-gallon tank, 28.25-inch seat height, and weighs 963 pounds. Now, of course, there's a big debate that's been going on forever about the Street Glide versus the Road Glide as far as which one is better for wind protection and the differences in handling between the fork-mounted batwing fairing and the frame-mounted shark nose fairing. If you have any thoughts on this debate or what your preferences are, leave a comment below. I read all the comments I get on my videos and would love to hear what you have to say on that. As we get into the test ride, if you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe to the channel. In the 15-minute ride I took on each of these bikes, the Street Glide and the Road Glide, I did notice some differences, but not a lot, to be honest. Of course, I realize that a 15-minute test ride isn't enough to really make a good, solid evaluation on a bike or a comparison between bikes. Even though the Road Glide is only 30 pounds heavier than the Street Glide, and I'm guessing all that weight, that extra weight, is on the front of the bike with the shark nose fairing. I definitely noticed it when coming to a stop. I found it more difficult to manage at low speeds, while the Street Glide was a little bit more difficult on the corners because of the weight, because that extra weight is on the forks. The Road Glide was more difficult at low speeds and when coming to a stop because all that extra weight sits on the front of the bike. I did like the wind protection that is on both bikes. I wasn't able to get a good sustained high-speed ride, so I really don't have a real good evaluation on how much wind protection there is. I did get up to about 70 on the Road Glide and had no issues with the amount of wind. I definitely noticed a decent amount of wind noise on my helmet on the Road Glide. I decided to take the Road Glide standard with the 107 engine, since the other test rides I've done on the Harley have been on the 114 engine. I wanted to see how one of the heaviest bikes out there, 850 pounds, was going to feel with the smallest of the current Milwaukee 8 engines. And it had no problems at all. I had no complaints. This thing had plenty of acceleration, plenty of torque on it. I thought it might be a little bit sluggish, but it definitely isn't. In the previous videos I've done, I've made a comparison between the Harley and its Indian counterpart. I decided not to do that here because, quite frankly, I haven't had a chance to test ride the Indians yet, and it's starting to feel like a broken record. The Indian engine has slightly more torque, and the Indian infotainment system has more features, but the Indian has a longer wheelbase, so I'm guessing there's a noticeable change in the handling. It's the same thing between the Indian Springfield and the Harley Heritage, the Indian Chieftain and the Harley Street Glide, and the Indian Challenger and the Harley Road Glide. They all have the same differences between them. So until I've had the opportunity to ride a Chieftain or a Challenger, I really can't speak into which one I think is a better bike. So after having ridden the Road Glide, what do I think? Did I get caught up in the amazing comfort and feel like after riding a Road Glide, everything else is just going to be a step down? Not at all. Quite frankly, out of the 3 Harleys I've taken on test rides, my favorite was the Heritage. That bike is so nimble and easy to handle because it doesn't have all that weight on the front. But the downside of not having all that weight on the front is that you don't have the wind protection that you get with the fairings. So it really is a trade-off. You have to decide which is more important, the maneuverability or the wind protection. You certainly do get some wind protection with the Heritage, with the windshield, but not nearly as much as a full fairing offers. I think one of the biggest questions in terms of what bike to get is what the bike will be used for most often. If you're going to do a lot of short trips, maybe 2 to 4 hours each, with lots of back roads and twisties, I personally would go with a lighter bike like the Heritage. But if you're going to be doing a lot of highway, long stretches of road with some curves, multi-day trips, things like that, I think a bike with a fairing makes a lot more sense. Of course, it is definitely possible with practice to be able to handle the bigger bikes with the fairings at low speeds and enjoy them on back roads with lots of twisties. This isn't a one-size-fits-all question or answer. Everyone has to decide for themselves what bike they want, and it really is dependent on which bike attracts them the most and accomplishes what they're looking for in a bike. For me personally, it's a really tough call because I really do like doing small trips on back roads with twisties. I also really want to do multi-day trips that are more geared towards something with a fairing. But unfortunately, I can't afford to keep my Scout and buy a bike with a fairing, have 2 bikes, in other words. I would likely need to trade in my Scout or sell it before I can buy an upgrade. So if I had to pick right now, I would strongly lean towards the Street Glide, but I definitely need more time on the bike. As far as looks go, Street Glide is my preference in terms of the bikes with the fairings. I'm not a big fan of the shark nose fairing at all and how far away it is from me. I feel like there's going to be less wind protection on the shark nose fairing because of how far away it is from me, but I suppose with a better windshield or a little bit of a taller windshield, it would probably alleviate that. Anyway, I'm still not a big fan of the look of that, so I would still much more lean towards the Street Glide. I definitely need to get more riding time on the Street Glide in order to be able to firm up that decision. Because my test ride on the Street Glide was a little bit rough, I want to get some more time on it. Maybe rent one out with Eagle Share or Rider Share, whatever they're called, the bike renting places, maybe rent one out for a day, take it out for 2, 3, 4 hours, and see how I feel after that before I make a final decision. That is probably the best way to go. I know that if I do something like that and I get to the end and I'm just not liking the Street Glide anymore, the Heritage is definitely next in line as far as that goes. I know that I won't have any problems with that bike after my test ride. It's just a matter of, with the longer trips, how the wind protection goes with those. Anyway, a lot of rambling on that, but if you have any thoughts or advice, or what are your preferences between these Harley bikes, the Heritage, the Street Glide, the Road Glide, the ones that I've done the test rides on, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your input. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. See you on the next one.